Lost, written by Jebodiaz Muadi. Chapter 1. Wealth. A 2023 EQE 500 4MATIC SUV Mercedes-Benz, black with lightly tinted windows. The sign along the roadside reads, New Haven turn left. Clear glossed manicured fingernails touch the black screen on the dashboard. The financial news radio station, WRYOK, the financial and business daily news could be heard from both speakers. Each morning Charity Monroe, the 40-year-old self-made woman, begins her day. From the sprawling 6 beds, 7 baths and 10,000 sq feet of beautiful trees and plants that surround the $7 million Greenwich, Connecticut mansion. Clear skies, the broadcaster boasted as the next sign read, Keep Straight Amante Towers. One of the most famous structures in the world. Overlooking the city green and Yale University, the Amante Tower has 37 floors, and the architecture is Old Gothic. The famous golden arches that span the length of the town green draw tourists from all over the world. The vehicle pulls into an assigned parking space. Sleek legs wearing a pair of Jimmy Choo designer shoes with a tailored Prada wool gray suit and a matching attaché case. The elevator door opens, she presses the button PH 13, and the doors close. Good morning, Miss Monroe, a voice spoke in a low tone. Good morning, Kim, as the two meet in front of a glass statue of the Greek god Atlas. Mrs. Kimberly Charles is a director in the consulting firm of Wolf & Wolf. Manager Abraham Wolf started the consulting firm in 1817. The business started out in a small 2-bedroom house converted into one big room with the bathroom enclosed. The business gained contracts worldwide during the industrial boom, and from the success, Amante Tower was built over the existing house, which is encompassed inside of the tower preserved. Abraham Wolf Jr. took over in 1942 and renamed the firm Wolf & Company to Wolf & Wolf. However, Abraham Jr. would pass away in 2010, and Jonathan Wolf, the grandson, was promoted from management engagement to manager. Charity Monroe and Kimberly Charles attended Boston University together. Charity at the time was majoring in structural design, while Kimberly was majoring in finance. The two met while attending a wellness seminar on campus and became inseparable ever since. After Boston College, Charity married her high school sweetheart, Thomas Monroe. The Monroe family, owners of the store chain, Monroe Foods, Thomas is the youngest of 3 children. A high school football star and athlete, Thomas had offers from Duke and Penn State, making offers to play football for the team. Thomas was injured while playing in the Thanksgiving Day game, an injury that would affect the rest of his life. After graduation, Thomas attended Yale University, receiving his master's degree in computer science. Together the two planned their wedding to take place in the summer. Page 1. Chapter 2. Sacrifice. Charity Monroe, oh how I like the sound of it. Thomas spoke firmly as he ran his fingers through her hair and sealed their union with a kiss. I love you, Thomas, this is so beautiful, Charity said in response. The wedding was held at the elegant Delvin Greenwich Harbor. Located on the harbor, the venue had private docking with green lawns, rolling hills, citrus trees, and memorable scenic views of the ocean. Kim, please come inside with me. I need to get out of these shoes, Charity said with a smile. 2 things first, a photo and hug. As the photographer takes the photo of the two, Kim places a kiss on Charity's cheek, then wipes away the lipstick. So tell me, how are you going to pull off going on a month-long honeymoon and prepare yourself for graduate school in time? Kim smiles with seriousness. Kim, I'm not going back to school next year, and possibly 2. Thomas and I are planning a family. Congratulations. Once more. You have been busy, and are you telling me throughout all the wedding rehearsals and fittings, you're telling me this now? Kim hugs Charity, and the two share a smile. Well, Kim, there's more. Charity grasps Kimberly's hands and looks into her eyes. Thomas and I have agreed that I would take time away from school until our baby is 2 years old. Have you thought about work? I know that the nonprofit in New Haven pays well, but it's part-time. No, I'm going to be working in the corporate office with Tom's parents. Kim looks at Charity with concern. Let me get this right. Are you telling me that we are speaking about the same company that on Thursday night wine night at Boston College you dreaded working for? Kim can't hold back a laugh, while Charity joins her. This is the plan, and yes, the very job which I still dread. Thomas will continue his studies, and I will focus on our home, while working from home. I am required to be present in the office twice per week, so it's not all bad. Tom's parents gave us the down payment for the mansion on 900 Pexland Road, and while Tom and I are on vacation, the designers will come in and furnish the home, and I will put the finishing touch when we return. Charity failed miserably attempting to hold a smile. You don't seem assured if this is what you're trying to convey. I mean the kids in the nonprofit program, what about them? Kim, I will work something out. However, I love Thomas, and I am willing to make this sacrifice. We have achieved the life that we dreamed of, and he is now my husband and father of our child-to-be. I must make this sacrifice, Kim. I want to start a family, just as much as him. I love you, Charity, and no matter what you decide, I will be here for you. Oh, I'm going to be an auntie. However, Charity, postponing school isn't the only sacrifice that you have made for Thomas, and I want you to remember that. The pair break their embrace and walk back to the gathering. Page 2. Chapter 3. The Golden Year. The honeymoon lasted for 30 days. The two traveled to Europe, then Asia, and at last Egypt. Charity Al-Khatib was born Delilah Al-Khatib to parents Bahir and Manisa Al-Khatib of Morocco. Charity has shoulder-length naturally curly brown hair with almond skin. Most who encountered her believed that she was European due to the lightness of her complexion. Her soft smile and her intellectual firmness turned the heads of men from all ethnicities. When Charity was 14 years old, her parents sent her to live with relatives in New Haven, Connecticut, when she was granted a visa to attend school in the U.S. The immigration department also offered Delilah the right to change her name, and she became Charity, as a reminder to always remain grounded. In time, due to her academic excellence, she gained full citizenship when she got accepted to Boston College. The couple had flown her parents from Egypt to attend the wedding ceremony. However, her parents remained in Connecticut for a week visiting extended family, and would reconnect on the last week of the honeymoon. When they arrived, there was a large family greeting. They also held a traditional Egyptian wedding. There was dancing and singing and music. Charity felt like a princess, and Thomas was her knight in shining armor. A honeymoon that Charity wished would never end. Honey, I have good news. Dr. Fong said that the test results are positive. Charity, with tears, standing in the foyer with the results clutched in her hand. A month after their return, Charity was now carrying the child that would make her dream life a reality. I'm going to be a father. We must call everyone to let them know. I can't believe that I'm going to have a baby boy to play ball with. Thomas embraces Charity cautiously and kisses her. I'm not ready to have our baby now, Tom. You can hold me. Thomas lifted her off her feet and carried her into the sunroom, where the two made love on a hot sunny afternoon. Good morning, Charity. Mr. Monroe, Thomas's father, stood 6'3", and at the young age of 73, he was still fit as well as hands-on within the company. Good morning, sir, as Charity glances over the office. Fresh start. Charity, with your experience in structural design, I would like your services to be best utilized in the R&D department. As the two walked along the corridor, Mr. Monroe stopped and opened a door. This will be your office, and the central station is through the door to your right, and there is a bathroom here, as he turns a knob exposing a full bathroom. The large office was a nice fit considering her need for space, and more importantly a full bathroom at her leisure. Mr. Monroe considered this out of experience due to Mrs. Monroe and morning sickness. All the amenities were well thought out and planned by Jefferson and Karen Monroe. After all, this grandchild would be their first. Page 3. Chapter 4. Reality. The job became a routine, and Charity made the most of it. Charity designed floor plans that instantly improved sales and worked to bring in new products into the store chain. She also added the final touches to the mansion and decided to paint the baby room by hand, filling the room with scenes of every Disney character that she could think of. She prepared the room for a boy or a girl, and it would take her for months to complete the mural. Thomas would lend a hand when his studies did not interfere, but most of his time was spent on the university campus. Arriving home each night around 8 o'clock, while leaving each morning by 6, interaction was minimal. Mrs. Monroe, the scans that I had ordered on your last visit are in. The results were as I had expected. You are carrying twins. Dr. Fong awaited a response. However, Charity was still processing what was just said. I'm happy, doctor, but what about the ultrasound? I mean, in the photo that I have shown only one child. Mrs. Monroe, you are carrying 2 children. The twin is smaller and is located side by side laterally and not horizontally. Doctor, are you saying that there might be a risk? No, Mrs. Monroe, however, I will give you a referral to have a specialist look just to have a second opinion, but for now, all signs say healthy pregnancy. On the drive home, Charity is faced with the reality of 2 children and just how Thomas would take the news. Charity cooked Thomas's favorite New York strip, Brussels sprouts with sourdough buns. Thomas walked through the door and smelled the aroma and knew that something special was about to take place. What's this? If I wasn't standing before you, I would have suspected that my son had been born, so what is the celebration? Charity moves closer to Thomas as she takes his hand and places it onto her belly. Honey, the doctor informed me today that we are having twins. Her smile was unassured as Thomas kissed her, removed his hand, and sat down and ate dinner. Hi, Kimberly, are you free for lunch? Yes, in fact, I will drive there now. Because I know that voice. Kim knew when Charity was rattled from their Boston college days. Like the night that she drove to the Marriott in the city of Hartford. Thomas had supposedly reserved a suite to meet her there and to spend the weekend. When she arrived at the hotel at 10 o'clock at night, no reservation had been made and Thomas could not be reached, leaving Charity the 2-hour drive back to Boston at 11 o'clock at night. When I received the call, there was a gasp in her speech. The same gasps on the call today. Are you okay, dear? Kimberly asked with concern. I informed Thomas that we are having twins last night. Charity said with a straight face. That's great, Charity, congratulations. When you said that you wanted to start a family, you were not kidding. However, there was no adulation in return. Kimberly, I believe that Thomas was not pleased with the news. Page 4. Chapter 5. The Arrival. The twins were born on Christmas Day with Thomas by her side. 2 beautiful girls with full heads of hair, and their eyes were opened wide. The firstborn weighed 7 pounds, 2 ounces, and the second child weighed a little under 6 pounds. After the orderly brought Charity back into the recovery room, her best friend and family awaited alongside Thomas. Have the 2 of you thought of names? Karen Monroe inquired as she placed the flowers and balloons on a table that sat beside the bed. Sharon and Karen, Thomas said as the nurses brought in the 2 children and placed them in each arm. As a Christmas gift, Mr. Monroe paid for a full-time live-in nanny for the new extended family of 4. The first 5 months were tiring due to Karen's weight at birth. Between the doctors and specialists, Karen's weight would eventually put on the weight necessary to achieve a normal growth cycle. The nanny was a blessing, Charity thought to herself, because of all the traveling to various medical centers, along with the laundry that comes from using cloth diapers. Eva, I am taking Sharon with me today. We should be home around 7 o'clock. After Karen's appointment, I am going to pick up something to eat and have dinner with my husband on the university campus. Eva was born in Lithuania and has worked as a nanny since arriving to this country. Karen was seen right away by the doctor. Charity ordered 2 dinners from Istanbul Lamb, a high-end restaurant located in downtown New Haven. She then made her way to the campus parking lot and into Williams Hall. As she entered the building, a security guard greeted Charity and complimented her 2 daughters. "Third floor, room 213, Mrs. Monroe. Let me get that elevator down here for you." The guard scans his card, and the elevator doors open. With Sharon strapped to her chest in harness, she held Karen in one arm and dinner in a carry bag in the other. The 3rd floor was quiet and there was little or no movement, and when she arrived at room 213, the lights were off except for the light peering through a closed door within the huge room. Unsure if her husband had already finished for the night, she tries the door and it opens. As she walked to the front of the room, she began to hear voices coming from the room with a light on. What are you doing here?" Thomas yelled as he stood up. "What are you talking about? I thought you liked me in this position," the blonde graduate student replied, unaware that Charity and the children were standing at the door in shock. Thomas, in a hurry to gather himself, Charity dropped the bag of food and made her way out of the building as fast as she could muster with 2 babies. The drive home was quiet. The children, strapped into their respective car seats, were fast asleep. Charity began to cry while holding herself together so that her family could make it home safely. Once home, the nanny readied the children for bed while Charity sat in the kitchen awaiting Thomas. However, Thomas was not to walk through the door on this night. Page 5. Chapter 6. A New Attitude. Years passed and Charity lived with the reality that her marriage had become transactional. She never told anyone about the infidelity, nor about the event that would change her life, dreams, and aspirations for her family. Thomas would continue to live a double life, always with different women. However, Thomas would always place Charity as a centerpiece to his success, especially when it involved social events and business deals. Charity's natural beauty, authenticity is intoxicating, and even women could not deny this. In an article by the Greenwich News Daily, the couple was listed as the happily successful power family on the rise. However, behind the wrought iron gates, it was evident that their relationship had changed. Charity attempted to please her husband by letting her hair grow longer, and she began to wear athletic attire more often, in the hope that she could reignite the passion that once upon a time had brought the two together. Yet each time the two made love, Charity just could not give herself completely, and Thomas could feel it. Eventually, Thomas and Charity were no longer sharing the same bed. "Hello, Kim, and good morning." "Good morning, Charity. I was just thinking about you. I was going to call you to see if you would like to accompany me to this new boutique on Main Street." "Kim, I'll have to take a rain check. The girls and I have plans today. I called you to update you on some of the new developments which will be taking place next week. One of which involves you," Charity said with firmness, while Kimberly listened. "I'm leaving the family business, and I also plan to work part-time at the nonprofit. I think that's great and good for you. But Thomas was adamant about you not working for the nonprofit, and what will you do about your full-time income? Have you found something else?" Kim asks with concern. "First of all, Kim, don't take this the wrong way. Fuck Thomas. However, I have made a few contacts within the family through business deals and company ventures. I've spoken to a man named Roger Pipkins of Pipkins Parcells. He made an offer to be a consultant within their company, and my response. I told him that if I leave Monroe Foods, it would be to start my own consulting company." Kimberly was stunned because in all their years together, she had never heard Charity use profanity in any manner. She knew something was different. Oh, okay, so when do you plan to transition to this new company, and what about the girls? This is where you come into the picture. I would like you to consider joining me as a full partner. I placed an application with the state of Connecticut. I was approved for the LLC, and the application has now been forwarded to the Federal Commission for final approval. As far as the children are concerned, Eva is great with them. I know that with you by my side, our company will always be in good hands should there be an emergency, and for business travel as well. Page 6. Chapter 7. Byron Jordan. No Boundaries, Hattie speaking, how can I help you? Hattie Franks is the director of No Boundaries, a nonprofit organization that provides aid and mentorship to at-risk youths in the city of New Haven. Hi Hattie, this is Charity. How are you? How long has it been? It is so good to hear from you. Hattie could not hold back her adulation. Tell me, what can I help you with? Hattie, I miss working with the kids, and I would like to be a part of No Boundaries. This is such good news, and we would be more than pleased to have you back with us. However, due to budget cuts, we had to reduce our staff, and we are basically relying on volunteers and public donations. Hattie said in her grandmotherly voice. Well, Hattie, where do I sign up? Charity was not concerned with money, nor was money or wealth a part of her makeup. She just happened to be married to it. Charity, when can you come in? I mean, No Boundaries has made some changes, and I would like to sit down with you to go over them. The next day Charity drove from Greenwich to New Haven, and she was greeted by Hattie standing at the front entrance awaiting Charity's arrival. The building had gone through some changes since she had been away. The once painted murals that aligned the structure had graffiti written over them, and on the inside. Most of the equipment in use was the same equipment that was there when Charity had worked years prior. Charity, I would like to introduce you to our staff and the volunteers that makes this possible by sacrificing their valuable time. As the two walked through the building, there were children running through the corridor while others were making arts and crafts. Right then Charity had received a text on her cell phone. Excuse me, Hattie, I need a moment to respond to this message. The two stopped walking and Charity began to type a response. Miss, you are going to have to put that phone away. There are specific times where the children are allowed to use their cell phones, and we adults are held to the same rules as we make applicable to them. The men stood there until Charity put her phone away. Charity, this is Byron Jordan. He is a volunteer, and he's been with us for about 10 years now. Byron stuck out his hand, and it took Charity aback. She had never had any man tell her to hang up her phone, but to also stick out his hand for me to shake it. Oh, what a nerve, she thought to herself. However, her first impression of him was that of a bad boy, but once their eyes met, she sensed something different about him. A staff member walked over and handed Hattie a schedule, and Hattie handed the form to Charity. Here, this is our new schedule along with the services and programs which we offer. Take it with you and fax me your availability, and you can start whenever you are ready. Page 7. Chapter 8. Independence. Thomas and Charity continued their marriage by name only, and would only speak to one another regarding the children and finances. The only time that the two would spend together was when Thomas would receive an invitation to a gathering or convention. Then the two would put on their masks and act the part of a loving couple for the audience. Charity was immersed within the new company, Delilah Charles Consulting LLC, located at 1313 Boston Post Road in Milford, Connecticut. With their first client, Pipkin Purcell, the company was already bringing in revenue of $1.3 million a year in profits. However, this alone was not enough to support a $7 million mansion and expenses. She would need to bring in a bigger account. A blessing that would come from the very least of likely places. Karen, come or we will be late. Charity was bringing the two twins with her to the nonprofit today. Charity had drafted a letter to the mayor of New Haven when she first returned to No Boundaries, requesting a grant to provide paint supplies and equipment upgrades, which took 4 years and 2 mayors before the proposal was approved. When they arrived at No Boundaries, there were about 55 children of all ages accompanied by their parents, and even residents within the area, and students from the local college had volunteered. They had clowns, various activities, music, and free food. The local newspaper stopped by and took photos while a reporter interviewed Hattie. This would also be the first time that Charity's daughters would interact with a variety of ethnicities. Something Charity felt beneficial, as the children were now only a year away from attending college. Something or someone had captured Charity's attention, something Byron would sense as well. Many of the troubled youth looked up to Byron because he could identify with them, along with the respect that the staff had for him. Charity would always hear the women in the building talking about how he is single and sexy yet refuses to take the bait, as if he was waiting on something. Byron looked up and caught Charity's hard glare, not realizing that she was giving that same look when the two were first introduced, you know. That hang up the phone look. However, Byron just smiled and gave a wave, and his attention went back to the children calling out his name. Sharon and Karen had a great time, and were socializing as if they were friends with the other children for years. Charity felt accomplishment seeing and experiencing the happiness of others. Like every great moment, there must also be an end of the day. On the drive home, Karen told her mother that she is bigger than Sharon because some of the kids made fun of her for being shorter than her sister. Before Charity had the opportunity to respond, Sharon said, "Yes, Mother." Byron said that growth is in the heart. That is what makes a person stand out and stand tall. Mother, can we go back? Page 8. Chapter 9. The merger. The Mile High Sports Company, one of the largest sporting manufacturers in the country, had provided No Boundaries with new equipment donated by the company via a letter written by Charity. The owner and CEO Leonard Standish visited Hattie on the day of the delivery. He expressed how the handwritten letter was impressive and that it motivated him to act. Hattie explained the letter was written by a volunteer who was also the primary consultant firm for Pipkin Purcell, and handed Mr. Standish her business card. Charity, Earth calling Charity. Kimberly laughed. "Forgive me, Kim, I was just lost in thought for a moment. You have that 3 o'clock meeting with Stanley Davis's. If you're not up to it, I am familiar with the account. If you would like, I can fill in." "Thanks, Kim, I can handle it." "Well, it's 2:30, I believe that you need to get a move on," Kim said with a smile. Charity had lost track of time. Her intention was to leave the office by 2. Byron was on her mind, and she couldn't figure out why this man had such an impression on her. Whether passing by in the corridor at No Boundaries, or during the program's action plan meetings. Byron possesses an aura and energy that no man has ever made her feel, and Charity knew that this feeling was internally different. "Hello, my name is Jonathan Wolfe. I would like to speak with Charity Monroe." She knew that on the other line was the manager of one of the most prestigious consulting firms in the world. "Yes, this is Mrs. Monroe. How can I help you?" "Mrs. Monroe, I would like to offer your company a buyout. The evaluation as it stands today, the company is valued at $4.5 million. Wolfe & Wolfe is offering $15.6 million. Wolfe & Wolfe is also offering you the position of engagement manager, which offers you financial stability with no risk." "I am at a loss here. Why is Wolfe & Wolfe interested in a small consulting company?" "Mrs. Monroe, the moment this call ends, you will be receiving a call from Leonard Standish of Mile High Sports, and they will offer you a proposal, a contract which Wolfe & Wolfe has been after for over 10 years. The fact that Leonard Standish is impressed, your services will be of great benefit to this firm. Thank you, Mr. Wolfe. However, this company is a partnership, and we also have employees to think about. We are prepared to take on Kimberly Charles as a director, and we will provide a fair severance package for the employees." This opportunity offered Charity a stable family life because so much of her time was invested in the company, volunteer work, and her children. Now her focus will be exclusively and solely on her children along with her personal healing. Kimberly was excited because now she would be making more money with a complimentary work schedule. Although Charity financed the company, she gave Kimberly a $4 million check. Unfortunately, the next phone call would not be Leonard Standish. "You need to get here now." Thomas slammed the phone. Page 9. Chapter 10. Lost. Charity, in a rush, leaves the office. Driving frantically, unsure of what has taken place, attempting not to think the worst, Greenwich General confirms that no medical response has come from 900 Pexland Road as the call ended. Finally home, she enters the mansion, and she is confronted by Thomas and a gentleman whom she is unfamiliar with. Without a word, the two men walk into the theater room. "What happened? Where are my babies?" "A nigger, Charity, really, you have bought my children around niggers," Thomas voiced from the top of his lungs. "Hello, Mrs. Monroe, my name is Max Callahan. You might remember me from No Boundaries, however, I am a private investigator." A 40-foot screen displayed photos of years of interactions between Charity and Byron. The photos were of Charity staring at Byron, and the private investigator confirmed that Charity always found a way to be in Byron's presence, although nothing physical had ever taken place. Thomas knew by the look on Charity's face in the photos that there were deeper feelings behind those glares. "What's this? I'm the one who has been faithful to you, you bastard. What gull? Where are my babies?" Let's just say they are with people that look just like them, in a pure environment, such as their grandparents. "Charity, you will no longer have anything to do with that establishment. If you do, so help me, I will divorce you and share the photos to all within the society, including Wolf and Wolf. Now get the hell out of my face." Charity did not give Thomas the pleasure of seeing her cry, holding back her tears until she entered her vehicle. "Hello, Hattie, I need to speak with you, and I am on my way there now." However, when Charity arrived, the first person that she would encounter was Byron, as if somehow he knew that she would be arriving. "Charity, I need to speak with you." "Byron, this just isn't the time. There's a lot going on, and I will no longer be volunteering here at the center," she said with her eyes glossed over. "No, Charity, I have something that needs to be said before you go." Charity could never look into Byron's eyes for too long, because he was the only man who could tap into her vulnerabilities, as if looking into her very soul, and she would always look away when in Byron's presence. However, in this moment, Charity's eyes locked onto Brian. "Charity, you have a beautiful heart, and the kids here see it as well. You are a loving mother because your children reflect it. I've always known that you have had feelings for me, and I can second that emotion, because you captured my heart the first moment that I looked into your eyes. I kept my distance because I know how much you stand to lose by being with someone like me. In another life, I would love you till no end. It has been a pleasure working with you, and I wish you the very best." Just then Hattie walked over and asked Charity, "Is everything okay, darlin'? Come, we can go to my office and talk." "Hattie, my intent was to come here, and to personally thank you, and to say that my time here would be complete. However, I have had a change of heart, and I know that the road going forward for me will be a stormy one. I believe that I will not be walking this road alone." Charity turns to face Byron and embraces him with all her hurt and pain. Hattie, now filled with emotion, wraps her arms around the two of them to reassure them both that the two will be just fine. Page 10.